Hello all, we're back and I wanted to go over classes this week. I think that you will probably appreciate Python a little bit more than if you did classes in other languages. Classes should feel a lot like functions this time with one major difference, and that is the creating of these, what I refer to as instances. And as you can see right now, I have a very, very small file with classes in it. Go ahead and type this in if you want to work along. We're going to add to this and change it. But basically, what we want to do is create, as you can see here on line 10, the entire program and then a very, very, very small class. Now, let's explain both of these things. First off, let's go with the program first. The program consists of M1, which is what we're going to refer to as an instance. So that means it exists. And as you can, to kind of visualize this, what you see there is the word camel. Camel is that specific instance of M1. Probably better name is like the name of that instance. So M1 is the variable, camel is the name, and then mammal is grabbed from the class. So as you can see, this is mammal, and this is mammal up here. So it's going to refer to it right away and do something with it. Now, the reason why we call this an instance is because it is not unique. So in other words, I could come down here and type down M2 for mammal 2. And I could call this, I don't know, how about orangutan. No, I don't know if I know how to spell that. So let's just try monkey. And as you can see now, I'm going to have two mammals under two variable names, and they're going to have different attributes, one of which is the name. And we can add to this if we want to. So if I refer to one of these types, we're going to end up with with a specific mammal that has different properties to it. Okay, so yeah, I guess we can leave that there for now, and we'll play with this a little later. I'm going to space it just there so you can see the like. And then now let's go up to the class and see what's making it different and the same as a function for that matter. If you look at this type, it's very similar to the way you describe a function. Instead of using the word def here, you use class, meaning that it is a class, and there can be multiple types of it, because with a function, when you create a function, all you do is complete that function, execute that function, and then all of a sudden when you're done with that function, everything goes away. All that stuff that you put in it does not exist anywhere. It's on the memory card and it can be overwritten at any time. When you do a class, all this stuff is sticky, and so when we create a mammal and a camel and a monkey, they're going to be on the memory card, and they'll stay there until the program ends. So it takes a little bit more space. It's a little slower, but you get these nice little, what we refer to not as instances always, but as objects, these physical, well, maybe not physical, non-physical objects that you can refer to and get information from as you go. Okay, so let's get back to this. So we know this, we see that familiar colon right there, and then the first thing you will see is a function. So functions are part of that class structure, because once you have a class, you kind of want to do something with it. And this is what's referred to as the default function, or maybe a better name for it is constructor. which you should put down on every class that you create. So when you create something called mammal, this function automatically works. You don't have a choice. You have to call, if we put another, let's see, if I put another, oh shoot, I'm hitting my keypad again. If I hit another type of function here, I can call this function, let's just say running. I can call running whenever I want to, but it doesn't automatically go or execute when I do make the camel or the monkey. So I'm going to take that back for now, and maybe we'll create one later. So next, here we go. We're going to keep going. You have to put this line in. Init means initialize. This is the weird thing about it. I'm going to use my arrow keys here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2. So there's actually 2 underscores there, not 1, and 2 underscores here, 1, 2 there. Make sure you do that, and then everything will turn out okay. Then, of course, we have the self, which is kind of being a new piece to our class, which is a little different than a function. So self just refers to what's being done at this moment. In some other codes, they use the word this. It's very similar to this. Or in some cases, very identical to this, depending on the programming language. So self means whatever's coming in. So when I bring camel in, camel is really the self. When monkey comes in, monkey is the self. Or if you want to think of it this way, actually this is probably a better way to think about it. M1 comes in, it's the self. M2 comes in, it's the self. It says you do not want to use M1 or M2 up here. You're creating these guys, and self is going to take care of everything. Now after that, you'll see these 2 things get pulled in. So this is going to feel a little strange at first. One, because we're only putting 1 argument, but we're getting 3 parameters out here. With functions, you almost always want to match the arguments with the parameters. Now, if you look here at the end, we have from functions a default parameter. So we could say something like, I don't know, something like boo. And that will work, and that will take it in. But if we don't want to put anything in there, we don't have to, because that's the advantage of using a default parameter. And that works the same way as it does in a function. So let's take that out. So essentially we're going to get no noise. Camel is going to come in as type. Now why doesn't it come in as self? Because self is going to have to be put in to every one of these constructors that we ever create. So this self has to be there, but then after that, then you start adding the parameters. So if this is your first parameter, it's second here. If you have the boo parameter, or excuse me, boo argument next, then it comes in as the 3rd parameter. So it's just a shift of 1. But once we're going, I don't know if it'll make more sense to you, but it'll be easier to do. The next step is to set up some attributes of this. So I'm going to put in attributes. I like to call these things properties from time to time. If you do a lot of other programming languages and use Visual Studio, you'll notice you have a properties box down here. Well, that just actually takes all these attributes and stacks them and lines them up so you can see it real easy. Unfortunately, our Python is not as well integrated as, say C# or C++ in Visual Studio, so we don't get to see those properties, but they're there as attributes. So we take the word type, which in this case, camel is going to get passed into type, and then type is going to be passed into self. Now, the reason why you want to put it into self is because now for M1, that will get logged in as its type. So what type of mammal is it? It's a camel. I suppose I could say genus. Actually, I don't even remember what the right word is for that. But you biology majors probably know probably could use a better word than type here. If I take camel and put in this type, I don't actually have a noise, so noise comes as a blank, and it doesn't get passed to self at all, so we can't actually put it. But now that I have self.type, I can print out something is a warm-blooded animal. And so when I run this, let's take a look. We get the nice camel is a warm-blooded animal, monkey is a warm-blooded animal, because they're both going through that class. You can also write it this way. You do have access to some of this. So in other words, if I wanted to take this and put it in the main, in fact, for a second, let's just do that. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put it. However, if you notice, see that word self, it doesn't turn color, doesn't change color. That is because self is no longer available. It doesn't know which self you're referring to, right? It doesn't know whether it's M1 or M2. So you actually have to put in the word M1 type. And then it's going to go up and it's going to see, okay, there's two types here. There's a camel and a monkey type, but only one's associated with M1, and that is camel. So let's go ahead and hit start. And as you can see, camel is warm-blooded type. Now, generally, people don't like to do that. The reason being is that it's a little less secure than if you bury it somewhere else, like say in the initial statement, or the next way we're going to do it, which will be in the next video. So we'll see you in a sec.